Oh, we're down an inch. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1467. And as you can see, we have the Sparkle Ladies here tonight. And the first Monday of every month, you will see the Sparkle Ladies here. I have the honor of having Mrs. Chris Dyer here with us on the first Monday of every month. And we're going to just be talking about things that make us better so that we can live our best life now. Talking about making changes to ourselves, those little subtle changes you need to make. And like the summer challenge that I'm currently on, we're going to get an update on that as well. So Chris, welcome back and welcome to the Dirt Nap family, our podcast family. So it's going to be awesome. Yay.
I'm very excited. Very excited. So yeah, thank you, Helen. And yeah, I think it is time for a check-in and update, but I want to know, how do you feel? That's what I'm really interested in. How do you feel?
I am so super fantastic and sparkling off the charts because because I was just telling Chris, I got notification like 5 minutes before she got online with me that Amazon had published my my book. So they published the Kindle version. The paperback version is going to be coming as soon as I get it uploaded, and that takes like 3 to 5 days or something before that's done for the paperback version. So I am super excited to. So yeah, so that gave me a real boost to the day. I mean, I was excited already, but that just took me over the top.
That's awesome. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to celebrate now.
Yeah, well, you're going to share it with all your groups, and you're going to let us know we can support you so we can take you to Amazon bestseller.
Yes, that would be awesome. I don't know how to do that. I'm learning.
Yeah, and then when you put it in print, then you can actually have that seal that on the front.
Oh yes, excellent. I like that idea.
Yeah. Actually, I have one. The first one I ever did. This was an anthology, but see, I mean, when you get them in print, you want the Amazon bestseller seal on them.
Awesome.
So yes, I'm sure your challenge group will walk you through that process.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Have you done anthologies before?
I yes, kind of, sorta. So the yes, kind of, sorta one was that I was interviewed on a podcast one time, and she took all the interviews and transcribed them and put them into a book. So that's how I kind of, sort of became part of an anthology.
That works. You know what? That actually works for some people because they have a little bit of an apprehension about sitting down and writing it. But if you can get somebody to record you and transcribe it, that's really that's what they say is the easy way to get your book published. In fact, I just came from eWomen Network conference in Dallas, and there was a gentleman there. He's pretty well known. I probably have the book somewhere in proximity. Yeah, Chandler Bowl. He actually helps aspiring authors to self-publish. And published The Proven Path from Blank Page to 10,000 Copies. And so they were giving away this book. And then also, I took down notes. Actually, I stuck the notes in the book. But, kind of creating them. What's that?
I said, that's a great place to keep them because then you won't lose them.
Right. Well, I mean, and yeah, so I took notes and, just some bullet points on to really make it easy for the rest of us. But one of the ways to make it easy for people who really have an aversion to just sitting down and writing is like use your cell phone, do video memos, or use some kind of software, even AI, that it will transcribe it for you. So
there's a lot of great talk to text things out there now too.
Yeah.
And that you can use to do the talking and then the texting, and then you get somebody to go and edit it for you and make it easier and that sort of thing too. But I always find, and I have a friend who is writing a book right now, and she has her mother come over on Tuesdays so she can go and write on Tuesdays. But she says, I get so distracted. She says, it's taking me forever to write this book. I go, well, how do you write it? She says, I sit at my computer and I type and I go, and I bet you're correcting everything along the way, aren't you? When that little red line or blue line comes up, you go back and figure. She goes, yeah. I said, turn the computer off. She looks at me and goes, what do you mean? I says, handwrite, pen to paper. I said, because you will get in the flow and there's no little lines or anything coming up that you have to go back and edit, because you're just free flow writing. And I said, just get a composition book and just start writing in it. And so she did that. And she's got a composition book now for every chapter that she's writing. And she says, it's going so much faster now for her. And she said, I'm not getting distracted. She said, I just go and sit in there and I just pick up the pen. What did I write last time? Oh, that's right. And then she says, as when she's out driving the kids, if she thinks of a thought, she writes it down or she puts it onto her phone as a voice thing. So when she goes to a writing time, she can recall that and just write it out in full in whichever chapter book she's supposed to be putting it in. So she says, made it so much easier for her to write is that pen to paper or pencil to paper thing makes it so much easier because you're not distracted by little blue lines, little red lines.
Well, yeah. I mean, since we're on this topic about writing our first book, or maybe it's our fifth book, it doesn't matter. How do we make it easier? We can just stay on this roll, because you and I are going to be meeting once a month or twice a month. How do we even decide? I thought it was twice a month, but it's all good. You want to save space for amazing other people.
First Monday of every month.
First Monday. Okay.
Yeah. But that's check-in time.
Well, and also hopefully your course is actually going to talk about how to market your book.
But, we're talking about all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 7-day challenge is just to get you started, to get you into the flow, to understand the process you're going to be going through with the other books later on.
Right.
Yeah.
But instead of chunking it down, instead of it being so daunting, breaking it down into different themes, do your outline, take minutes to write your outline.
Outline is so important because that's your roadmap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, 45 to 90 minutes per chapter, just kind of limit yourself. And to your point, pen to paper, that's the creative, right?
Yep.
And energy that you're putting out there, but also not to edit, because we have a tendency to edit ourselves when we do it on the computer screen, but just write. And then the editing process, when you go back is the time to clean it up. So
yeah. When you transcribe from pen and paper to the computer, that's when you do your editing.
So when you finish your course, you'll be a pro and you'll be ready to teach everybody else how to do what you did.
Yeah. I mean, I actually found it really simple because I said, day 1, do this. And so I went and did that. Day 2, do this. And so I actually did day 1 and 2 on the same day, on the first day. Then on day 2, I did day 3 and started day 4, which was day 4 and 5 were actually writing. So started day 4's writing then. I did 688 words on day 3. I did 5,002 words on day 4. And then yesterday, which was day 5, I ended up with a total of 9,800 and something words by the time I finished writing everything. And I still had a good portion of the day left. So then I was like, okay, next step, let's start on the day 6 stuff. So I started on the day 6 stuff. Like, I can get this done tonight. It's not going to take long. But then the software that they use for formatting the books is very, very basic. And you can't size images in there. You can't do a gray box around things with an image and a QR code. QR code got blown up to the size. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then somebody said, oh, this is what I did. And so I went and followed her things and boom, it's done. The Kindle version's out. So, and because I had a lot of work to do today, I've been doing a little bit here and a little bit here throughout the day. And 4 o'clock came, it's like, right, let's get this up. So,
well, you shared with me the actual cover and the title of your book. Are you comfortable sharing it here?
Oh yeah, hang on. I gotta go. Let me go download it so I can put it on a big background so you don't get to see my crappy desktop at the moment because it's a mess. But the book is called Staycation Challenge: How to Get Away While Staying at Home and Discover Local Treasures. So that's what it's called. Oh, I made it into a PDF. I didn't want it in a PDF. Oh well. Let's see. I guess it's
that's going to be really good for families with kids, and
there's so many ideas in this book.
I mean, I'm interested. I mean, even for couples or,
couples, solos. I mean, Brad and I were always doing staycation. We're always doing staycation things. Okay, here we go. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's my cover. Oh, hang on. It's got to make it a little smaller. So that's the cover of the book. That's what it looks like. The Kindle version is now available. And the paperback will be out in about 3 to 5 days because it takes a little longer to get the paperback one up and running. But that's the front. That's the back. And the back basically says, let us show you how a staycation can give you a mini vacation without the expensive hotels and flights. 2 to 4 days is all you need for a staycation. Find cost-effective ways to enjoy your staycation, easy to follow planning tips, resources for local events and attractions, activity ideas to get you started. Do you want to be forced to take time off to contribute to the $344 billion stress-related healthcare, or do you want to choose when you want to take your vacation? The choice is yours, and what will you choose? Actually, I changed the back of that. I just realized I changed the back. That's the old back description. We have a new one.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounded really good to me. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, because the book description is going to be something different. So,
I mean, that's the kind of book you want to like gift to your kids too, who have kids, adult kids.
Yeah, it's and it's got a ton of ideas in there. What was it? Page? Oh, jeepers! I had it all going and everything else. Oh, look at that. It went from page. I mean, just to let you know how many ideas are in there. There's a lot of ideas in there. I have, it goes, let's see, the ideas start on page 19 and go through to page 41 is the conclusion. So you have whatever that is in there, just a listing of different ideas in different categories and things like that.
So what are some examples of some of the categories?
Some of the categories we have are adrenaline adventures, backyard games, bike rides, communing with nature, cooking classes, fun in the sun, learn something new, volunteer, water activities, theater, riding public transportation. If you ever want a good mystery trip, you always go to a public transportation, get on a bus or a train or something, and go to the end of the line and just wander around at the end of the line before it heads back again. Farmers markets, food trucks, flea markets. There's all sorts of really cool ideas in there. So,
yeah, farmers markets is one of my favorite.
Well, my idea on that one is that you go early and you go through and you pick up the fresh produce, the fresh baked bread and all of that sort of stuff, put it into your picnic basket, and there's your food for the day.
I like it.
Yeah.
So
and then
go ahead.
The challenge part is setting a budget per person per day and keeping within that budget. And that covers all your food, all your parking, your transportation, entry fees, everything that you're going to spend money on that day comes out of that per person per day thing. And we did one in Vegas. Now our rooms were already prepaid for. We got $40 a night at Excalibur for 2 rooms, $40 each. And that included the taxes and their resort fees. I mean, it was an amazing, incredible midweek deal. It was awesome.
I was going to say, that's been a while.
It was 2014, but we did it. And because none of it, well, Brad was kind of really the only gambler, but with my parents with us, he didn't want to go to the tables or anything. And so we just went wandering. And the Bellagio has this incredible garden area that they change out every now and again. That's all flora and fauna and everything else. You go over to the Venetian, they've got the gondolas going up and down the canal there, and you got the gondoliers singing and serenading everybody. They have a street show at 12 o'clock. They have those statues, those marble statues that will move if you drop $1 at their feet. It just amazes me how still those people stay. I mean, we sat there watching this woman for 20 minutes and she didn't move unless somebody put some money at the bottom on the floor there. And then of course you've got the Bellagio fountains, and you've got the volcano at Treasure Island. And no, hang on, that wasn't Treasure Island. Treasure Island was the Pirates. What was the volcano? Is one of the other hotels, Mirage, I think it is. So you've got lots of different walking. When you walk through the different themes hotels, you can see what the different themes are and all that. And they've always got something really cool going on. And there's always some sort of free entertainment there as well. So it's really cool to walk through the Vegas. And that's just on the Strip. And you got stuff that you can do when you get off the Strip. But we just stayed on the Strip. So we were only there for a couple of nights and had a blast. My parents had never been to Vegas before, so it was a one-time thing for them.
Then all the freaky people watching up on Fremont Street.
we didn't go to Fremont Street. We just stayed on the Strip. Yeah, because we basically just about walked everywhere. We did drive down to the Bellagio. Actually, driving to the Bellagio was hilarious. We're on one of the side streets and waiting to turn left onto the Strip. And there was this girl there in front of this fountain, and she's standing there and she's going, and doing it. And anytime guys only would walk past, she would ask them to take photographs of her. She didn't touch, any of the women, if guys walking with women, she didn't talk to them. But if they were just guys, like a group of guys or a single guy by themselves, she'd ask them to take photos, and then she'd start doing all these poses while they took photos for her. I guess it was her way of picking up guys. I don't know, but I was still like, well,
probably.
Yeah, you see lots of things when you're wandering around Vegas.
Yeah, no kidding. So it's kind of giving me an idea, Helen, for you when you really start marketing, when you get the hardcover in your hand. Like doing TikTok videos and talking about the different chapters.
Oh, that's already written out.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is my book that I've been working from, and they told us to write 5 to 10 ideas for a theme for our book. I think I have 15 and I keep adding to it because I keep thinking of other things. But in this book, it's got blogs that I had previously written that I've updated and refurbished and that sort of thing as well, and put the stuff in there. So it made the writing a little easier. But then I thought, well, I got all these other blogs as well. So
what's your next book project?
I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided. I got 15. I don't know how many. I started off with 15, so I'm now down to 14 plus whatever I've added on since then.
Yeah, I was going to say you'll add on more.
Oh yeah, I'm keeping the list going, but now I'm going to go into the next part of the course, which actually walks you through I'm doing a 30,000 word book, so just 3 times more than what I've already written, because this one's just under 10,000. Supposed to be
fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction for now. Yeah, I have my fiction stuff like on the sidelines over here with all the genealogy charts done for the fictional characters, and the book outlines done and everything else. I just got to write it. But once I do this course and get a few of the nonfiction stuff under my belt, then I'll tackle the fiction side, because you use exactly the same process. So, yeah.
Very cool. Have you considered doing a children's book?
Yes. My grandfather used to tell us very interesting fairy tales. We had Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Cinderella, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, all of the classic fairy tales, but they never ended how the books ended. He had his own endings he put on them.
Yeah.
But then I also have my photographs of trees. I like unusual trees because they can become homes for the tree goblins.
Oh.
Yes, and I have a book of names with photographs next to their trees that I've taken of over the years. So.
Have you considered turning them into some kind of like I don't want to say tarot card, but like an angel card deck, or like a Celtic fairy card?
For the tree goblins? Nope. I haven't thought of that one at all.
Really? Are the goblins not nice creatures, or are they nice creatures?
It depends which one you're talking to.
Okay.
It just depends.
What type of folklore is that from? Or is that a specific country or a culture? Or?
No, I got into all the tree goblins and all of that sort of stuff from Spike Milligan. Spike Milligan was a British comedian. He was incredible. And he wrote this book one time called Bad Jelly the Witch. And I still have a copy of the book, and it's all in his own handwriting, is how they wrote it. And in New Zealand on Sunday mornings, they used to have like the children's story hour. Actually, I think it was 2 hours, but you'd wake up like 7 o'clock in the morning, and instead of disturbing the parents, you turn the radios on and you'd listen to all these different stories. And they had Spike Milligan on there reading Bad Jelly the Witch. And you had the tree goblin who comes out of his thing, and he's offering Rose and Tim are off to find the cow, Lucy the cow, because Lucy the cow's gone missing. And they go into the forest, and they meet this tree goblin, and he says, he invites them to come in and stay. And he's like about this tall, and they turn and says, we can't fit in that door. And he goes, oh yes you can. And then he goes, tree 1 2 3, please grow very big for me. And like magic, the tree grew bigger and bigger until the door was big enough for them all to run inside. But then you had to watch out for the lion, because he was a little rusty, and so he was roar squeak squeak, roar squeak squeak. Then you had Dingle Mouse, who used to be a banana but was turned into a mouse by Bad Jelly the Witch. And the mountain had a beard on it because it lost its razor. And this is all from this from this one story and everything else. And it's been a favorite story of mine for years. And I always, when I look at trees, I look at how the trunks are formed and all of that, and you get some really interesting trees. And I got a whole bunch of photographs of different trees. And I'd even make Brad stop when we're driving down the street. I said, "Go and park over there real quick." He goes, "Why?" I says, "I got to take a picture of that tree." And he's like, so I have so much material. It's going to be fun to finally get into the writing mode and start putting some of this out. So yeah, there's children's books in the future.
Well, and part of the process of what you're going through now in your personal life, you probably are unpacking a lot of data and memories, and it's reconstituting your imagination a little bit.
Oh yeah. I've still got boxes I'm unpacking, and I look in those boxes and there's so many memories coming out of those boxes right now. And I'm just like, oh, wow, I forgot about this. And I found my swipe file the other day, which is a box that's got just, magazine articles in there, pictures of different things. Laying down on the floor here is a stack of paper, which have got different apartment building layouts and things in it, and house layouts and stuff for the floor plans for the houses and apartments for the characters and books and things like that. So yeah, I got some big swipe files.
Was this always part of your creativity that you wanted to self-express years ago?
I come from a family of storytellers.
Okay.
My grandmother was a storyteller. Hers was always her stories from World War II when she served in the Women's Auxiliary Air Force before it became part of Royal New Zealand Air Force. My grandfather was always the fairy tales. He wouldn't talk about his war days, so he told us stories through fairy tales. His twin sister, you couldn't get a word in edgeways with her. She had the family stories and you couldn't get a word in edgeways. But all of their siblings were like that. They were all great storytellers. And so it's kind of been passed down over the years. And I guess it's another reason why I got interested in genealogy with the photographs, because I would pull out the photo albums and ask them to tell me a story. Because I knew I'd look through lift up the pages of the photo album until I found the pictures I liked with the stories that I liked. Then I'd go, tell me stories. And that's how I, learned some of the family history that way. Unfortunately, that was when I was years younger. So some of it's a lot rusty. But if somebody mentions something, it'll come tumbling back. So, yeah.
So where is your favorite place geographically when you imagine creating a story?
Wherever I want it to be. I create a world wherever it needs to be placed. Some of them I don't know where they need to be placed. Like I've got this one book, and I know the story starts in Ketchikan, Alaska, but ends up in Oregon, but I don't know where in Oregon. So,
have you been to Oregon?
Nope. Oh, sorry, I have. I've driven down the I-5, and we stayed in Portland in one of the suburbs there for a night, and then we drove down to Phoenix, Oregon, and stayed there. So that's the only two places I've ever stayed. I haven't been out to the coast yet. We couldn't get any campgrounds out on the coast when we did that trip.
The coast is magical. Both my husband and I, we feel like we left part of our souls in Oregon.
So many people say that.
As I'm manifesting three houses, one of them will be in Oregon.
Awesome.
It's a magical place. And you were talking about farmers markets earlier, and I was trying to, I feel like I'm doing a great job interviewing you more than anything on your own show. But I was going to ask you talking about farmers markets, and I wanted to share about the magic of the farmers markets in Oregon.
Oh, please do. Please do. I love farmers markets.
Just the agriculture there is just phenomenal because they have the rain, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's part of it. And then the summer times are just lots of sunshine. But all the produce is like gargantuan size. We're talking like berries that are 2 and 3 times the size that you would find in a normal supermarket, right? Mm-hmm. Just a feast for the eyes. And the flowers, fresh cut flowers. I mean, why would you ever buy it from the grocery store? I would just go buy a fresh bunch and support the local farmers. And mm-hmm. goat cheeses and meats and breads and all the yummies, right? And it's like I miss farmers markets. And of course, when we moved to Colorado, yeah, the farmers markets had chipotle peppers. That was about it. because they don't grow too many fruits and vegetables in Colorado. But yeah, I miss my farmers market now, and now I'm in Vegas, so it's like living in the desert was never on my radar.
I have to find where the farmers markets are here because I don't know.
Yeah.
And find out what days they are too. We used to have a good one that was, when we were living in San Diego, we had a good one that was like half a mile from our house where we were, because it was at the local winery, which happened to be half a mile from our house. And we'd go up there and get fresh baked bread and bread like their tamales. But they also had dessert tamales because I don't eat spicy food and I can't eat onions. And so I would stay away from the savory ones, and I would always get the pineapple and, oh, what was that? Pineapple, cranberries, and pineapple, cranberry, and something else was in there. But they were real, and they were tamales, and they were dessert tamales, and they were really, really good. I enjoyed those. Made like the regular tamales, but they just had fruit in them instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting an education. I did not realize that was a thing.
Neither did I until we found, and they sell them to you frozen. They have a selection of hot available if you want to eat it right there and then, but they have frozen ones that you can take home with you.
Very
And
cool.
yeah, and so Brad would get the pork ones, I would get the pineapple ones, and that would be our lunch.
I will have to look for that.
I don't know if it's a regular thing or if it just happened to be this vendor's thing, but it was really cool. And then we go, there's a couple of really good farmers that were there as well, that are organic farmers, and we go get our fresh produce from there for the week. And they had every now and again they'd have a cheesemaker there who would bring in the cheese, and they had the artisans there with their arts and crafts as well. So, and it was held up at, and like I said, it was held at the winery, and there's a big pottery place next to the winery as well. So, and they had different sheds out there for different arts and crafts and stuff as well. So you'd get those artisans coming in and selling their wares. So I enjoyed that one. That was a Friday morning one. It was Friday mornings, but we had fun. We'd get in the car and go up there and get some stuff and come back again. And that was our lunch, the tamales.
It sounds amazing.
Oh, those tamales were good.
Something about, just the vendors, like the fresh air vendors, the food trucks, the vendor, right? And just enjoying that. I mean, that's a great staycation, right?
Oh yeah. And and if you go often enough, you get to know the vendors and they get to know you, and, you have conversations going around all over the place, and it's a very, very much a community feel.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm sure you've visited a lot of cities, and I'm thinking staycation like in the city of Portland, where you'd go. I mean, they have a whole block that's nothing but food trucks, right? And they go
food
to
trucks is one of the things we have on there. What's your favorite food truck? Do you know its website? Go follow it, see where it's going to go, and maybe in an event you didn't know about that you could go along and see.
Yeah.
Maybe they're at one of those food truck party place things where they, have there's a community not far from me down in Buckeye, and every Saturday night, I think it is, at the local community center in the parking area there, they bring the food trucks come in, and everybody from the community comes in, and they just have a community evening, sitting around chatting with the neighbors and everything else. And this community has no shops in it, no gas station. They've got to drive 20 minutes to get to the nearest gas station, all that sort of thing. So it's just all houses. So they all come down to this community center area, and they've got the food trucks there, and they just basically have a party every Saturday night with the community all getting together and talking and catching up and everything else. And the kids are all playing in the playground there, and they've got the food trucks for the food. So I was like, man, I'd like to, but we didn't get the house that was in there. It was a really nice house too. Didn't get that one.
Well, I'm excited for your book, because I think it's going to be, I mean, it's even great to, as a gift. I mean, as small as it is, right? I mean, you could just have a stack of them, and whenever you have a house guest, just give one away. Or if you have people coming in to visit from out of
town. The cool part is it can be used anywhere. It's not region specific or anything.
Yeah.
It's just ideas on how to have a staycation and make the most of it, and the importance of taking the time off, because and I know the article's old, but it's my favorite article. And it was written back in 2013 about, what was the title of that book? I actually put it in here because it's right there in the beginning. Where'd it go? There it is. The article is called "Americans Don't Take Vacation Even Though It's One of the Best Benefits Around." And they talk about approximately $344 billion is spent on stress-related healthcare every year. And my favorite sentence is the one that says, the silly thing is that the fix is incredibly simple. Offer employees vacation time and encourage them to take it. Now, somebody in the travel industry also like, yes!
Exactly.
But it was just interesting. And so now I give people a choice. You can either be forced to take a vacation and contribute to the $344 billion in healthcare costs, or you could take your vacation when you want to take it, how you want to take it. So
yeah, there's a quote I came across a couple of weeks ago from Ben Franklin, and it really gives you pause and makes you think. The foolish man makes his doctor his heir.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a doctor.
Well, I don't either. Well, I'm married to my I'm married to my medical provider. I have a slight advantage there, but truly though, I mean, we do all this working. We run ourselves silly trying to create a life, and when we don't, and here's where we're circling around, is like when we don't take care of ourselves in the small moments of our day, all that abundance. I mean, who's going to take care of us? We don't want to be giving away our abundance to the doctors or the, whatever medical professionals to be taking care of us. We sort of owe it to ourselves to maintain our independence. And that's being an advocate for our health and well-being. And yeah, definitely taking the time out and going on vacation or staycation, or just, taking a siesta from the computer for a day.
Yeah.
Has huge benefits, right? I mean, we tend to overcomplicate it, and it really isn't complicated.
I try every Sunday to have all the electronics off, no computer, no getting on the phone, no checking social media. The only time I'm on the computer is to do my live. I try that. But yesterday I was on task. I was on point for getting a challenge finished. So yes. Wow. This coming Sunday, I will be off the computer.
It's everything in moderation. You had a purpose and a goal.
I had a purpose, yeah. And now I'm on the computer on Sundays when I have a purpose.
And now you have the reward to show for it.
Yes, I got a book published. Zephy and I are trying to figure out what to do to celebrate. So, and one of the things one of the ones we have in there is, get lost. Go and get lost in your own community. Just go for a drive. And if you've got more than one person in the car, well, I have a dog in the car. You go, which way? You get to a major intersection, left, right, straight ahead. Left, right, or straight. And I look in the back mirror and I go, Zephy, left, right, straight ahead. And whichever way she turns her head, that's the direction we go.
That works.
And we've ended up in some crazy places. And then the fun part is no GPS to get back home unless it's an emergency. So now you have to figure out, did I take a left here or a right here? And you never know where you're going to end up. And sooner or later you come across something that some road that some store that I've found when we've been out driving and stuff and doing that, we usually do that on a Sunday. I've found shopping centers that are closer to us than the one that I've been going to. So like, I didn't know this was here. Find gas stations closer. Found a cafe one time that was pet friendly. Yay. So Zephy and I got to sit outside and have refreshments. Although she didn't like their dog biscuits. Thankfully I carry my own with us. So she has those. But you can, that's the book is just designed to give you ideas to spark your imagination and to get you thinking about it. It's not saying do this stuff. It's like, here's some ideas. Well, I don't like that idea, but on this case, I could go do this. I mean, I got other ideas popping in. Ten-pin bowling's not in. Oh, actually, ten-pin bowling is in there. It's a backyard game. You fill up bottles of water and you stick glow sticks in them, so they become the pins. And then you use glow-in-the-dark balls to try and knock the bottles of water over.
That's fun.
Yeah, in the backyard.
That's fun for grandkids.
That's fun for anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We have the dogs chase the balls. And we've got a frisbee disc golf thing in the park that's just at the end of my street. And the park goes like several blocks. And they've got a frisbee golf course. I think they call it disc golf. that goes from one end to the other and back again. And we often on Saturday mornings, in fact, even this past week, we've been out there at 7:30 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, and there'll be guys out there, groups of guys walking on, getting their golf game in before they head off to work or whatever.
Yeah. I'd never even heard of disc golf until I lived in Colorado Springs.
We discovered it in Virginia. When we lived in Virginia, we went to one of the local swimming pools, and I looked over in the trees, and I go to Brad, I go, "What's that in the tree over there?" And he's like, "I don't know." So we go over and have a look and figured it all out. They had a sign there about this frisbee golf thing, and so so we got our frisbees one time, not realizing there's a whole different type of disc that you use for frisbee golf, not just a regular frisbee, but we use regular frisbees, and we took the boys down there one weekend and had a blast. I think we lasted 3 holes and then we went home. It was just mine ended up in a tree somewhere, and
yeah, that's a whole new skill set. And I have tried it. It's a challenge for sure.
Yeah. And then they have putter discs, and it's almost like they've got a whole set of golf clubs, but they're actually the shape of a disc. Because they're talking, we're going to use a pitching wedge here, and I'm like, a pitching wedge? So one day I'm going to ask them, because the guys, when they go out in the morning, the sprinklers come on while they're on the course, and so I wanted to ask them one day, does that become a water hazard? So
yeah.
But anyway, so you had the e-woman thing last week, which I saw your posts about. It looked like it was an amazing time.
It was a great time. A lot of great energy. A lot of well, I mean, it's like any annual conference you go to. There's people that you see one time a year, and it's like a family reunion for people who actually want to see each other. So it was pretty remarkable, and of course you make new friends, and the speakers are great, and vendors are fun. I actually helped out a vendor this year.
That's awesome.
A new vendor for the event. Got a great collaboration out of it.
Nice.
Super stoked about that. We'll start pinning it out on paper, and I mean, we're already talking about it here in Las Vegas, so it's I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love when you go to events and make great connections.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if no business comes out of it, you still get some with great connections and things.
Oh, well, there'll be business coming out of this one.
Yeah. And the ones that have business come out are even better.
Well, it is a business conference. It is, it's like taking a vacation away from your business, right? And it's to pour into yourself and to become inspired and to stretch your imagination and really see what's possible when you're in proximity of other people that have other great ideas, and that energy and synergy just comes together. So I play in a lot of different communities, and it's very rewarding to cross-pollinate and meet people and collaborate in different unique ways. It's more fun.
Yeah. I can't wait to get back into in-person networking. It's been a long time.
There's a Phoenix chapter where you are.
Yeah, but I think the day and time the problem I have right now is the day and times of the meetings.
Oh.
Because they conflict with other things that I have.
Sure.
Yeah, like I even have an event I asked this year because of my genealogy class, and I wanted to go to it, and then they've already announced where next year's one's going to be, and then they announced the dates, and I was like, damn it. Because my genealogy course for next year overlaps that meeting again.
I thought you just finished one genealogy course, correct?
I have one that's a yearly event at the International Genealogical Historical Research.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a yearly event. It's always the last full week of July. And this year I won a door prize, which gives me priority enrollment.
Oh.
So the priority enrollees get to pick whatever class they want to go into at the beginning of next year in like January, and then it opens for enrollment in like I think February or March for everybody else. So it means that we basically get to pick our class before the popular ones get sold out. So I'm kind of excited about that.
So how many attendees descend on that event usually?
They usually have about 13 course tracks going, and they're limited in size from anywhere from 25 people up to 40. So,
well, in your annual conference though, how many people usually come in?
that's it.
That's
13,
it?
you have 13 courses.
Oh, okay.
Then you have all the instructors, and I don't know how, we've got a lot of those. But then as far as the course attendees go, depending on the course you're doing, some are limited to 25 people. The biggest one I think is like 40 people, and then most of them are around the 30 to 35 people. So they're limited on how many people they allow into each class is based on what the class is.
That's a nice intimate group.
Yeah. And then you get to, they have events going on during the lunch break. The lunch break's 90 minutes. You've got events going on in the main room because they do it all virtual. They've already announced next year one's going to be virtual. I'm like, yes, I don't have to suffer Georgia heat in the summer in July.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so they have a main room that everybody goes into, and then you can go into breakout rooms from there based on what topic you want to go and network about. So they've got it pretty well organized and run it pretty well. So that's pretty cool. So, well, update from me is down an inch on the waist this week. Yeah. I'd actually gone back up to my original starting point. And I was like, darn. And I haven't really changed my eating habits, and I haven't really changed the movements. And movements is exercise for other people. We call it movement because we want gentle.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We decided not to use the E word. We say, what did you do to move your body today?
Yes, we do lots of body
movement around your house. It could be walking your dog. It could be gardening.
Yep.
It could be whatever you want it to be.
So I haven't done anything. I haven't really changed anything in the last week, but I lost an inch this week. So I don't know.
All right. Well, we talked about doing more meal prep too.
Yes. My fridge is now empty, and so is my freezer. So I got to go get some food.
Yeah. What kind of questions do you have for me?
Let's see. I don't know. Well, no, I should have written it down. I did have one. Okay. What's your piece of advice for people for this coming month? If they're doing the 90 days summer of self-love, what is your advice for them for this coming month? Since we're at the beginning of the month, we're in August, kids are going back to school.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are heading back to work.
I would say make your daily self-care routine non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's easy because things are picking back up and everything is busy again. Things are going to start getting crazy. And you want to set yourself up for success as before you are going into the holiday season, right? It's never too late. It's like the fourth quarter, if you will. I mean, financially in business world, it's kind of like pre-planning for the end of the year and to give your 2024 head start.
Yep.
I mean, how much further ahead can you be? Because like everybody wants to wait till January 1st. Well, I'll just put off the rest of the year. It's like, well, how much further ahead would you be on your goals? Right. I mean, you might be in another different size of clothing by the time the holidays get here. Right. And then you've got that momentum going and it sends you sailing right through the beginning of the year without a hiccup. And you just keep going. And as a trainer, I always say, well, if you fall off the wagon, just treat the next day as Monday. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is, right? Instead of going into guilt and shame and shaming and judging yourself, just like, oh, I enjoyed that. I wanted that. Now I'm going to get back on track tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, yesterday I had my first ever root beer float.
Ooh, that sounds yummy.
Yeah, and it was done with frozen custard.
Even better. It's summertime. You're supposed to eat ice cream in the summertime, right? I mean, nowhere in a healthy lifestyle does it say don't eat the ice cream, don't have the cake, right? I think it's that black and white mentality that really, it really messes with people's heads. It's like, no, if you can make better choices 80% of the time, life is meant to be savored and enjoyed. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I go on vacation, I want to eat the things. I'm a foodie. I love all the things. I don't want to, restrain because that doesn't get you anywhere.
Nope.
But
Well,
Happy
yesterday
to.
we needed a break and I needed to get out of the house. So I said to Zeffy, I said, come on, let's go get in the car. And so we went and hopped in the car and I thought, I'm going to go have a root beer float. And this is how it happened. So for the past week or so, now Culver's has a really good root beer that they have. It's their own brand of root beer. And it's actually one of the nice ones. Most of the ones I taste have this weird aftertaste. It reminds me of this tonic stuff that my grandmother used to give us whenever we stayed with her. She would like force it down all the grandkids' throats for the good of their health. with a tablespoon, like a, the bigger than just not a measuring tablespoon, but a tablespoon that you use for dishing up. And 1 tablespoon of that, pour it down your throat. But they have a really good root beer. And I kept seeing the root beer signs whenever I would go there. And I kept putting it off. And in this past week, I've been thinking, what a root beer float tastes like. Maybe I'll go get one from Culver's. And I just sort of like going, nope, don't need it. Don't really need it. And then yesterday, somebody posted about root beer floats on their wall on Facebook, and I saw it. And I was sort of like, oh, that's a sign. And this was like in the morning on my morning break. And so I thought, yeah, we'll go get one of those. It's like 11 now. They're going to get busy for lunch. So we'll wait till around 2, 3. It was actually 4 o'clock when we left the house because that's how far I put it off and got there. And of course, got some medium-sized cheese curds to go with it because I'd never had those till I started going to Culver's as well. So had the root beer float and thought that wasn't too bad. But next time, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go and get like the largest size of root beer that I can from them without ice and get a pint of their vanilla custard and bring it home and make my own because there wasn't enough. I didn't have any more root beer to put into the float when the root beer had disappeared. So I had to eat this custard at the end and I just like to top it up. So I've got it planned for next time.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've done root beer floats, probably when the kids were living at home.
Oh, I've done all sorts of, I've done Coke floats, I've done Fanta floats, I've done Sprite floats, ginger beer floats. Any other soda except root beer.
Fanta. That must be like an orange creamsicle. That sounds really good right now. You're making me hungry. It's time for me to go eat dinner, Helen.
Oh, yeah, it's time for us to go eat dinner too, but we've got to go for WALK first.
Yes.
All
right.
So we'll have to do the WALK. Is she there? Oh, yeah, she's laying on the floor behind me. She knows when I'm on camera, so she goes to her spot on the floor.
Smart girl.
Yes,
well, this has been fun.
It has. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And how did it end up being all about me?
You know what? I enjoy the spontaneity of it, and it was your book, and we should be celebrating your book. So I think it was exactly the way it was meant to be.
Exactly. So I'm going to go upload the paperback version now and then take the dog for the WALK because then it'll be walking time because the sun will be out. Won't be in our eyes.
You've inspired me. I actually have the children's book is the one that I really want to do next because I've got the grandkids on the brain, and so that's actually a very good impetus for me for next time is maybe we can talk about my uploaded book.
Yes, absolutely.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. Awesome. Actually, I'm going to put it on here because you'll be on for call $14.95 book. Okay, it's on my little cheat sheet here.
Okay.
So.
And we are going to keep up with your progress because I'm going to keep you.
Oh, yeah.
Keep you on your game.
Absolutely. I like it when I have accountability. It works better.
It does.
Yes, accountability.
We're not in this alone, right? When whatever works.
Yes, absolutely. Well, go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. And Chris, thank you so much for coming on. And we'll look forward to having you back on September 4th.
Yeah.
And great advice about making sure you carve out time for yourself, especially with schools going back and parents going back to work, vacation time over. But then if you homeschool kids, you get to select when you want to go on vacation and not when the schools tell you you have to.
Mm-hmm.
That was my reasoning behind it. If Brad and I ever had kids, I always told him we're homeschooling. He goes, "Why?" I said, "I don't want people dictating to me when I take a vacation."
That's also a good reason to be an entrepreneur too.
Yes. so I can take vacations when I want to take vacations.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that.
Yeah. The only boss you have to ask is yourself.
Yeah. And I have to ask Zeffie as well, because she's got to go to the dog sitter. So I asked her if she wants to go and stay with the dog sitter and stuff.
Yeah.
So we have a family conference. It's a very one-sided conversation.
And you have a big trip coming up, don't you?
I have my trip coming up in December to go home and see my parents. My mum turns 80 in December, and 3 weeks later, my dad turns 80 in January.
Okay.
So I'll be down there for a month, which will be the longest I've ever left Zeffie, and be the first international trip I've done since I started doing these daily lives. So that's going to be a challenge. And I also have a week coming up in October when I get to go and babysit the 3 oldest grandkids while their parents are back east for a wedding. So it's going to be fun.
It'll be fun. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Helen.
Well, thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing your words of wisdom as well. It's always a pleasure. And that's going to be the Sparkle Ladies out. So everybody go and have a super fantastic sparkling evening. And we'll catch you guys back here at 6 p.m. Pacific tomorrow evening. Hai konera.